Hey everyone, welcome to another match of Legacy here with Noah Walker for accumulated knowledge for Team Cardhoarder. Right now we're playing Jerry T's Grixis Control deck in a league. It's very similar to Grixis Delver, so I figured I'd try it out for a week. It looks like fun. We are currently on the draw, and our opponent mulligans to 6. I think this hand is fantastic. Only has one land, which is a little bit annoying if they're playing a Wasteland deck, but it has Deathrite Shaman, Force of Will, extra blue cards, Baleful Strix, and multiple counter spells. So this deck pretty much hedges well in a lot of matchups, so I think it's an easy keep. Yeah, this hand just really has everything. A mana guy, multiple removal spells, counter spell, and even a value creature. I love this card so much. It's so much fun. Play it, get a new card, trades for one of their cards. How broken. How do they make a card like that? I guess I make lots of cards like that, but... Opponent over here deep in the tank on their 6. It kept scry to the bottom. That's pretty good. Basic island and top. So since our opponent is so low on cards, I kind of want to just force this top. I know there's like a lot of controversy about whether or not you should force a full top amongst some players, but I think that I'm definitely just gonna force that. I think the card's just like way too important. If they have another top, then like I guess I'll feel a little dumb. But having played a bit of Miracles previously, I think that they really need lands. They really need all their cards too. It's hard to just like win with the Miracles deck when you don't have all your lands or like all your pieces together. So especially on a mulligan to 6, I think it's right to forcible there. Top is like easily the best card in Miracles, so I like it. I like it. I'm feeling good about this hand too. It sucks that the Dismember and the Bolt won't be as good because they're playing a Miracles deck unless they are main decking some copies of Mentor, but these cards are still great, so. Got plenty of value cards left in our deck. Like Painful Truce would be good. Obviously we need lands first, and this Strix is gonna help a bit, but Painful Truth's insane. Jace is really good. I guess probably in the exact opposite order. Painful Truth is really good, Jace is insane. Alright, so got a second land. Darn for a Tundra and Plow. Yep. Pretty standard stuff. So since I just like don't have lands and have some dead cards, I think I'm just gonna fire off the Brainstorm here. It's kind of rough if we don't hit a fetch, but I still think it's alright. So Wasteland's actually pretty good here because our opponent's pretty low on resources. Ponder's fine. Opponent chose to shuffle. Probably looking for... Seems like they're looking for lands, but it's possible they're not. Yeah, the fact that they're playing Volcanic Island means that they are probably pretty short on lands. I think here I'm just going to sit back with the Brainstorm. So I think the last Brainstorm I cast might have been a little greedy. Like, I can wait a turn. It's fine missing, like, a single land drop to get a card deeper for a Brainstorm, so... But now I'm just going to fire it off. Especially knowing, like, what the top card of my library was, I think that it's a little bit worse to to play the Brainstorm. So geez, so we found a bunch of value cards, but what we don't have is any lands whatsoever, so not looking fantastic anymore. But luckily our opponent also just doesn't have any lands, so I probably should have put back the Dismember, in case they have something like Click instead of one of the bolts. Like I should have put it back, Dismember, Bolt, so that we drew the second bolt next turn, in case they played a Click or something, so that we could draw into Dismember for the Click. Didn't end up mattering because our opponent didn't have a land, but could have mattered. Could have mattered. It sucks that like if they force here, we basically have to force back, but then we don't have any good plays next turn. Predict. That card's fine. Because they definitely shuffled with the Ponder, so if they hit off this Predict, then it's like they got a little fortunate. Yeah, they named Brainstorm Hidden Entreat. That's fair. So yeah, hopefully this Deathrite just survives, so we can cast Strix. That would be so helpful. We just need lands at this point. Juicy value over here, but doesn't really look like our opponent has very much either, so counterbalance, eh? I almost feel like that card is less important to counter than like top, because they don't really have anything right now to set it up, so as long as they don't just like blind flip us right here, then we're still in a fine shape. Oh, they did blind flip us. Okay. Well, I guess that like happens or whatever, so not much to do about it. But that really sucks. Predict themselves. Still not knowing the top card. Really just looking for lands here, it seems. Oh, it was upkeep predict. That makes sense. So it's basically the same thing as drawing a card. But they also got a second counterbalance in their hand, so slightly better. Basic planes, hopefully not a second plow, but probably. That's really, really unfortunate. I felt like we were in a great position this game. Hopefully not another blind flip. That would be. Strand, okay, good. Ooh, lands. Multiple lands. So we have to keep this. No questions about that one. I think I'm gonna just draw the C first. Hopefully they don't have a Jace. I think no matter what, though, I have to jam the Painful Truths next turn, so. Ponder, okay. They're probably just going to Ponder, keep on top, set up like a 1-drop. So we know that what? They have a counter, or wait. Oh, no. Never mind. Predict's way better than I thought it was. No matter what, the card goes into the graveyard if it's the name card you draw to. Okay. That makes way more sense. I haven't played with that card nearly enough. They chose to not shuffle, so I find it hard to believe that they set up for a Painful Truth incoming this turn, so I'm just going to jam. Predict Tundra. Maybe Terminus, okay. Maybe force the Painful Truce. Oh, wow, no, it just resolved. But, unfortunately, we still can't even cast the Force. Like, 8 cards in hand, can't cast Force. This current use member's fine, though, because we have a couple bolts. Top would be pretty bad for us, though. I suppose Jace isn't fantastic either, though. Ooh, no spells, though, on the other hand, is pretty great for us. Ooh. A Jace the Mind Sculptor. That's a very good card. So, we know nothing of as far as cards in their hand go. I kind of want to just play Wasteland and use it on Volcanic Island, and then play Young Pyromancer, just to get around a hard cast Force of Will. So I think I'm going to do that. I could also see a case to do something like play Painful Truths, because he basically has to counter it anyways. But we just have so many cards in hand where I don't think that line is great. Brainstorm, okay. This is definitely looking like a game that we're going to try to just set up a win with Jace, though, so. Like, draw another blue card, jam Jace, have Force of Will backup. The Painful Truth is pretty good here, too, so. Looking like a close one, though. I definitely think that game one, even with the Painful Truce and the Jaces, that this matchup's pretty close to maybe even a little favorable for Miracles. Just because there's not very many dead cards ever from a Miracles deck, but Jace but Lightning Bolt and Dismember, and like even Baleful Strix. There's a lot of cards in this deck that are not the best. Fetch Ponder, okay. Chose to not shuffle. Top. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it to use the Force of Will on the top, because Jace is much too valuable. But I could definitely see a case for just jamming the Jace here, though. So I think I'm gonna. Might be a little greedy, knowing that they have Counterspell, but I think it's good. Hopefully the Ponder that they topped didn't also have a Jace, because that would be super problematic. Or a Force, really, at this point. Especially having cast 0 forces so far. This getting forced would be pretty rough. Or sorry, the top card being Force to counter would be rough. Ooh. Have their own Force of Will. That sucks. So luckily there's still another Jace in the deck, and there's still some Gurmag Anglers, but that exchange didn't really end up as well as I had hoped. Second top, okay. Trying out another Painful Shrews. If this gets countered, then we're super far behind. Okay, chose not to use, so it looks like it's resolving. Okay, that was pretty great. Just gonna fire off the Wasteland now. Keep them as low on resources as possible. Use top, okay. Whew, this matchup is just always such a grind. I hate it. Like, especially right here, not having Delver, it feels like it's harder to get under them. Hopefully this just sticks. He's played a lot of 2-drops so far this game. So, So I know it's not impossible for it to, to have resolved, but Snapcaster Mage, womp womp. Also, Snapcaster is just really good here. So I wanted to draw the Snapcaster end of turn. Maybe he's going to Snapcaster Brainstorm. Shuffles away one of the tops. That makes sense. Doesn't have a real use for 2 tops. This is looking rough. Wants to start getting the beats in. Huh. Mill Terminus. So there I could have responded with the top, or I should have bolted. That was actually super dumb. So if I respond with bolt to the predict, actually, if they want to draw the top card, then they have to mill away their top. So unless they shuffle away the top and they have another top, then playing the bolt would have actually been a really good way to get around either letting the bolt resolve or shuffling away the top. Definitely much more likely letting the bolt resolve. But even that is pretty fine here, so. Yeah, having a 1 on top is really, really tough for this deck to beat, so. Almost want to concede just to save time, but our opponent's just taking their sweet time over here, so maybe it's dumb too. Also, just having Jace in the deck, which means there's little reason for me to just straight up concede. Cast Brainstorm. That's fine. chooses top. Man, I'm really just... I just want this game to end. I just want to draw a Jace. I'm really excited for the post-board games in this matchup, though. I think Abrupt Decay definitely makes this matchup a whole lot better, as does... I think there's definitely... Let's look at the sideboard. Pyroblast is pretty good. Pithing Needle's great. Yeah, those cards will definitely help this matchup a bit. Can take out most of the lightning bolts, maybe all the lightning bolts. The Dismember's not very good. Generally shave some number of Cabal therapies, but it's not bad. I'm just gonna try and bolt this. Pretty likely that there is just something, you know. Oh, revealed Jace. That's a scary card. Perhaps he thought there was a 1 on top, and there was just Jace there. I'm not really sure what happened there. Maybe they just don't have a 1 on top. But they could always just put Jace there. I mean, sorry, top. That was weird. Super weird play. But, yeah. This game is looking pretty horrible still, but definitely not over, considering that we have a Force of Will in hand. And you never know, the top card could be Jace the Mind Sculptor, so... Certainly can't concede. Unless they just keep Jace on the top of their deck, then it's pretty tough for us. Alright. Clearly they like the top 3 enough to keep. Looks like they might be keeping Jace on top. Yeah, looks like they're keeping the Jace on top in case we draw Jace. Seems like the best way. Brainstorm is fine. So they really just fetch? They must have kept the Jace in hand if they're fetching. They're probably just looking to have backup for when they cast Jace. So they want to have like Jace Force of Will right here. Maybe even Jace like Counterspell Force of Will. Probably doesn't have Counterspell. Seeing as how tapped like that, but just gonna Force of Will it. Force on top. That was pretty insane. Plus to us. Put it on top. Plays another top. I'll fetch, sure. Badlands, looking bad. Looking not great. But here, I'll cast this. Card takes up a bit of time. Feels bad here to just be like playing for like time almost, but not much else to do in this matchup. When you're playing against Miracles Online, it's like, all right, if I'm not going to beat you in this game 1, like you're not going to beat me forever. So it's pretty hard to kind of sucks. Like I kind of hate even saying this. Like I hate to play against Miracles Online and be like, all right, I'm just gonna. My plan is you are probably gonna time out in this match. Like if you can't beat me 2 games, then you're probably dead. Which kind of feels shitty to say because in real life it's like obviously they still have to beat you 2 games or whatever, but it's not like all right, you're just literally gonna lose if you can't beat me 2 games like we draw or something. So Strix is a really good draw here, though, so. Using his top. Predict. So their list plays a lot of predicts. I think that was the third predict we've seen. Alright. Jace is almost going off. But it's like, it's still, yeah, I think this game is basically lost. But they only have 12 cards in their library too. It got pretty far down with all the drawing cards with predicts. But I guess eventually like they were gonna draw Jace anyways, so. Since I have so much time, I might as well fire off like a bolt end of turn. Draws at the top. Sets it up as top on top. Alright, so upkeep, I guess I'll brainstorm. Or I guess I should... Oh, I guess I should have done it on their draw step. That was definitely not what I meant to do, but it doesn't really matter. Getting ulted now. Okay. Basically dead. Like 99.9% dead. They're just F6ing the rest of the game. I suppose that's just the plan, right? This feels bad. I'm sorry to everyone out there watching that I'm F6ing my turns, because I feel like that's a reasonable win condition on Moto, because it sucks sometimes that if you're playing a Miracles deck, like, it might take forever to kill your opponent. Cleanup step. Alright, this just carded a bunch of terminus and stuff. Died. Alright, yeah. Sorry again for everyone watching. But hopefully this game is much more interesting and we don't just get locked out by counterbalance and stuff, because that was no fun. No fun to watch, no fun to play. So I'm going to definitely take out this member. I'm going to take out the lightning bolts, because I feel like their list doesn't really play the mentor plan. But it's possible they have some on the board. But we bring in answers to it anyway, so... Decay's great. Pyroblast is great. Pithing Needle's great. And I think I'm going to bring in Invasive Surgery too, just because it hits Terminus. I actually think Terminus is, even though they didn't play any of that game, it can be pretty good against this deck. So I think the other card I can take out is maybe even Baleful Strix. I don't think it's horrible. I think it's better against the lists that play a bunch of creatures. Like Jealous's version. I think Baleful Strix is okay. But that version didn't seem to play very many creatures, so I think taking out is totally fine. It's possible that it's better than like one of the Cabal Therapies. I think Cabal Therapy is at its best on the play in this matchup, but the matchup tends to get a little bit grindy, so it's okay. But if they ever just get the counterbalance lock, then it's horrible. So I think I'll keep in one Strix and try something like this for game 2. Oh, man. Legacy is sweet, but Miracles, no. It's just not fun to play against. I just, like, rarely have, like, I'm like, oh, great, I get to play against another Miracles opponent. Like, it's hard to play, so, like, they generally make a lot of mistakes, but the deck's so powerful where sometimes they still win. Like, I mean, I feel like that's kind of Magic in a nutshell. It's like generally both players that are playing any given game of Magic make a good number of mistakes, but playing against Miracles, it just feels endless sometimes, especially online, because every little, like, they have to go through so many actions for everything. But it's definitely a really good deck. No hate over here, but it's just annoying. Ugh. They're taking their sweet time. Pretty hard to sideboard against this deck. You never know what it could be. Could be a Delver deck. Could be a Shardless deck that just wanted to try out some bolts. Could be this weird Grixis Control deck, which it actually is. Alright, yeah. Definitely going to play first here. Ooh, okay. So I don't think this hand is fantastic, but it does have two really important cards, which are Pithing Needle and Abrupt Decay. And with all these cantrips, I think it's definitely fine to keep it. Definitely going to start off and get an Underground Sea. Just because we have the Decay. And also, there's more black cards. So generally, in this deck, I think it's better to fetch up Sea first. Okay. So Wasteland could be okay, or it could be really bad. The probe is okay too. Force is okay, but I don't think these cards are particularly fantastic. And since we have a bunch of more cantrips, I think it's fine to just shuffle. Painful Truth is a great card. We're definitely really here just looking for. We want more lands. Probably gonna get red before green, I think. So definitely just gonna ponder again. Would be fine to brainstorm, but if there's no lands, then I just want to shuffle. So I think ponder before brainstorm here. Ooh, there's lands though. So I almost think that it's fine here to just keep the second C and then Tarn so that I can 100% cast the Painful Truths, just because it's so powerful. So I'm going to draw C this turn, play it, naming top, then Tarn next turn. No shuffles. Having lands is just a really good thing, so. Boom, Pithing Needle on top. Ooh, they kept a one-lander with top, and then it got Pithing Needled, so that's rough. Yeah, definitely just going to get a red source, because it's more important here to be able to cast a Pyromancer if we draw it than this Abrupt Decay, so. Black, blue, red. Flusterstorm, no. But I wanted to play Painful Truths. Honestly, I just assumed that card was just going to resolve. The game was going to end instantly. An instant rage concession from our opponent. Yeah, I'm just going to play this card. I'm not even going to play a Brainstorm. There's no reason to Brainstorm here. I almost want to keep another card in our graveyard. We're so far ahead where I feel like we're so far ahead where I feel like it's just important to use my resources really well, so that it's harder for them to get back in it. So okay, Volk is an okay one. It is not nearly a white source for Plow, so definitely still doing fine. I'm just going to sit on these Brainstorms until next turn, so. Oh, I'm surprised there was no Predict there. Be quite honest. Upkeep, fetch. And plow. Okay, that makes sense. That was a good play. I'm definitely going to brainstorm anyways, though. Definitely looks like our opponent is considering pyroblasting here. But it seems wiser to just pyroblast a Force of Will or something. So, yeah, it looks like they opted not to. I'm just going to put back Decay in a brainstorm and let this plow happen. Fire off a probe. If we can land this Jace, then the game is basically sealed. So definitely want to take a look at what our opponent's got over here. Pyroblast the probe. Now that is very aggressive. Just play another one. So their hand is Jace, predict, snap, terminus. Okay. I kind of feel pressured to cast the brainstorm here. Yeah, so that we can... Ooh. That is way juicier than I thought it was going to be. So here it is, Jace, predict, Snapcaster, and a Terminus. We can just sit back on Scalding Tarn, then if they play a Jace, we Pyroblast it, and then Wasteland them. So, I think I'm actually fine with putting back Invasive Surgery and Brainstorm here. The Surgery isn't doing much here. I think we're just going to win with Jace, so... And then just playing this land in passing. So another line here is Wastelanding first, but I think that stressing them to just snap play the Jace if they draw one is much better than doing it the other way. So, and also this line lets us next turn waste the Volk. Yeah, so like what's going to happen is next turn we're going to waste the Volk because he didn't draw land. If he floats the red or whatever and tries to Snapcaster, that's fine, but if not, then we just jam the Jace. So draw the Brainstorm here, Wasteland, use it on the Volk. As bad as it seems, because Tundra's definitely, their color. What a blue. That's strange. Considering casting the snap. Ooh, just predicting. That's fine. So their hand is Jace, Snapcaster, Terminus, and one card we don't know. Just gonna crack this. Get a Trop, and fire off a Jace. This play is definitely a little bit risky because it's pretty bad to Volk too. But, so like if this is a fetch land or something on top, we kind of have to bottom. Okay, so I'm not even gonna bottom that, which does feel pretty risky if they have another red land, but I'm just gonna bank that they don't. Ooh, Ponder though. That could get pretty sticky. Luckily we have the Pyroblast too, so they need red land plus. I'll let them keep Thin Treat. So basically, unless I'm just gonna Pyroblast the Snapcaster Mage. Doesn't feel great, but in fact, I should probably save it. Ooh. I should save it for a snap that's targeting Power Blast. But I'll just... Okay, so... 2 Terminus, Wear Tear. Okay, yeah. Therapy on Jason Mind Sculptor was enough for our opponent to concede. So yeah, I think that Pyroblast was actually a little greedy, because if our opponent drew like a fetch land for the second Volcanic Island and another Snapcaster, then they actually had an out to kill the Jace. So definitely maybe should have saved it. The Cabal Therapy was a really good draw. Definitely glad I left in some. And the Pithing Needle, of course, insane, but ended up being really good that game too. So, the question is if Invasive Surgery is good enough. I'm leaning towards that it probably is, because it's so good with Young Pyromancer. So, yeah, I think this is just totally fine though. The deck is Toxic Deluge is certainly one to consider bringing in because it's so good against Resolved Entreat the Angels, but I think that it's not really worth it. Off to game 3. Our opponent doesn't have very much time left. We don't have all that much time either, so definitely gonna have to play pretty quickly. Hopefully win with some creatures rather than Jace this game. But the deck really doesn't play that many creatures. It's just like what? It's the 4 Deathrite Shamans. I don't think we've played a Deathrite Shaman yet this match. Oh, wait. No, definitely did game 1. Definitely played a couple game 1. They just got plowed. Ooh, this hand's great. So Wasteland, while not being insane in matchups like this, I actually think it's pretty good against in like post-board games, because they always tend to bring in some number of Pyroblast, and then you can just get them. Turn 1 top, okay, a little bit annoying. This Deathrite's great. Curving into Young Pyromancer, Probe. A lot of the time I like to play the Probe first, or recently actually with this deck the past couple of games. But I think it's, if you can afford to, then it's generally much better to just save it with the Young Pyromancer, so... Hopefully our opponent only has like a non-basic land in their hand. We can just Wasteland them, play Young Pyromancer, play Probe. Be insane. It'd be so good. It'd be so good. Even with Jace in hand, I'm fine like being down a land so that they're down more. But if they just don't have a land, then it's like feels bad. Opponent definitely taking their time here, making sure to have all the necessary lands. Yeah, definitely basic plains here, and they end up deciding to plow, which is fine because we still just have the turn 2 Young Pyromancer into Jaxian Probe as desired. Terminus, Ponder, Tarn. Okay, I can remember that. Ooh, the Cabal Therapy was a fantastic draw. Really important here. Brainstorm was about as good as it gets for our opponent here as well. Because now they can set up to draw a card on our turn and get in there with some top value. But yeah, definitely gonna swing in. Not using it yet. Play Cabal Therapy. Make a 1/1. Gonna name Ponder. Hit Ponder. gonna flash it back for the wear tear. Wear tear, where are you? Oh, not even worth it. Not enough time left to get the wear tear. But yeah, I definitely don't want to time out, so opting to not take the wear tear because of time there does feels kind of bad, but I think it might even be, you know, the correct decision. No, it just feels really bad actually. It definitely can't be the correct decision, but it was just messing up. It was hard for me to find it. It was really hard to find. Fetch. Snap up a little Greenland. Play this Wasteland and slam a Jace. Yeah, definitely digging to try to not be dead to this Jace, it seems. Yeah, has to get Volk there. Really hoping for not Pyroblast in my future. But definitely going to start taking up with Jace. Predict just gets them too far with the top in play, so that's an easy bottom. Ponder's fine. You have so many Ponders in our hand. You could find anything. Really here so long as our opponent doesn't find a Pyroblast anytime soon, then they can't really beat the Jace. Jace has just proven to be really, really good in a lot of matchups. Like, obviously, it's much better against the slower decks than the more mid-rangey, you know, aggressive decks, but it's so powerful. Just one of the most powerful cards in the deck by far. Ooh, so we do know they have Wear and Tear, which makes it feels a little worse to Pithing Needle here. It's like if we had gotten rid of the Wear and Tear from their hand, I think that the Pithing Needle would be almost enough for them to concede. Because like without top in play, then pulsing on Jace does almost nothing. So I'm actually gonna I'll dig a little. Ooh, Force of Will is definitely a good one to keep. So I want Kermag Angler too, though, so. Draw like this, no shuffle. I could even just ponder again. Keep the Gurmag. And have the... After that, no shuffle. Waste you. And play a Gurmag. Now 3-turn clock as well as having Jace, so definitely looking pretty good over here. Looks like they decided not to use upkeep top because they already knew the top few cards. Guessing predict. I think predict is fine here. It can just forceful something if it's actually a problem. Bonder is fine. Got the Force of Will back up. Another blue card on top. Just gonna Pithy Needle at the top. So going to draw and then look at the top three? That's a pretty interesting way to use it. Alright, got the top. They can keep Spell Snare. Bash in for 5. Alright, so yeah, this one's looking great. Ended up that looks like it won't really matter that we didn't get to take the wear tear with our needle, but or sorry, with the therapy earlier. But Gurmag and Jace will do the trick, even if we get a little lazy with our spells. Okay, I'm just gonna force that. So he's definitely going to target the plow, and I want to make sure to have a couple lethal looking things. Yeah, I'm going to put the plow on bottom. Down to 4. Alright. I'm just going to save this ponder. No real reason to use it. Like, we could use it if we're looking to dig for something more, but I think that, like, with a Jace, a turn from ultimating, and a lethal Gurmag Angler in play, that it's fine to not there. So Snapcaster for plow. Plow our thing. Probably play a top. Okay. So now, unless they have another, or yeah, I guess I'll +2 before I ponder. Yes, I would love to put that card on the bottom. Ponder. Ooh. Force Brainstorm. That's pretty insane. So I'm going to put it back. Gurmag. Brainstorm. Force. No shuffle. Play Deathrite. And then Wasteland the Volk. So now, as long as they don't have another Source of Plowshares, can pretty handily just win with this Jace. And if there's the third card from the top is another blue card, then we have Force of Will anyways. So then, if not, we have a Gurmag Angler. So won't be able to hold off the Jace forever. Definitely looks like we got this one. This game was much more of a sweat than I feel like it had to be, but we got there. It was really, I want to say fun, but I don't really like using that word when involved with a Miracles deck. No, Miracles is really fun. It's just super obnoxious to play against sometimes. Another Snapcaster Mage. Getting in his last couple seconds of glory before time runs out. Again, it feels bad to like have won this game partially because I played really slowly game one at the end when I was dead on board. But I think that, you know, I have to play to my outs really. But I think that, like, you know, regardless, they were dead this game. regardless of whether or not they had, you know, there's not much they can do against a Jace ultimate, even with 14 seconds on their clock. But yeah, got there this match. Definitely starting to like this Grixis Control deck. I feel like from a Delver perspective, in comparison to the Grixis Control deck, Miracles can be a really tough grind, and you never really have anything to push through at the end to kill them unless you have like a Sulfuric Vortex or like manage to get a Delver underneath, you know, all their plows and stuff. So cards like Jace and Painful Truth and like Abrupt Decay, they help a lot for a matchup like this. So yeah, worked out, was fun. Yeah, please come back for another match after this.